Mm, Hello, Professor. My name is Natalia Rodriguez, and today I will talk to you about the aspect of dialect variations. Here are the highlights. So, historical aspect. The study of the evolution of language over time. Now, as a historical linguistics made it impossible to discover that modern related language come from in turn from the older language which had also developed from from the fragmentations of some older language. In this sense, any language so doesn't not case to be in itself a dialect with a language come from others from which they have been or are variants in a given geographic. This other meaning of dialect is something considered as important as that of geographical variant. Okay? Now, political social aspect. The history of language also explained that for different reasons, political, social, geographic, cultural, of several dialects that emerged when a language is a fragment there is not that it is possible and the ends up exhausting that flowering of the others, while the forming is cultivated literal and is vehicle of words of high aesthetic value. There are others who never get to write, and if they are left begin in the modesty of their locales, while the former suffered the care and vigilance of the one nation. The others run aggressively. The historical development is most of the time responsibility of the ambiguity with which the terms of language and dialect are usually used. At less popularity, there are cases in which a dialect in origin and ends up being considered a language by a political social decision, such could be the case of Valencian. And in the same way, a language in origin, Valencian for example, was for centuries the so-called sesculos escuros stainnesses, with its consideration as dialects. Okay? The question of prestige. Well, the dispute arises between dialects of the same language. The concept of prestigious dialect, of variety of prestige areas, which is the one associated in community that was more than one dialect with that employed by groups of speakers who occupy a socially prestigious position, economy, culture, social elites. The ambiguity of them, this conceptual variance, Atlas in a not specific area also has part of its origin in that etymologically the word dialect has no link with geographical issues without qualifier. The notion is neutral and generic, equals variability to more to normal. This explains why in recent years its sense of geographical variability has begun to be explicit by the more explicit notion of geology. The person of speakers simultaneously